probably 4 seed, if not being. If they lose to Georgia, they're out, and you can't have really any confidence in Alabama right now winning that game. Grab my drink. If they lose that game, they're out. Their best hope is that their defense keeps it kind of close, which I think they can, because Stetson Bennett has been very efficient this year. But when he can't rely on his run game, and he's playing a talented defense. I know, like, a couple games the Georgia run game wasn't great. Like, who was it? Mizzou, I think, shut him down for a little bit. And Stetson Bennett just lit them up because, it's Missouri. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Alabama. So their best hope is that their defense really keeps them in it, and they can maybe get a defensive score, a special team score. That's going to have how they're going to have to do it. Yeah. No, of course he's on special teams for his speed, but you can't have another guy. There's not another fast guy on the team that can make tackles on punt. You're risking injury. Yeah, Alabama has to beat Georgia. Where's this comment so I can pull it down? Yeah, Alabama's gonna have to beat Georgia because the fun chaos. If you guys want some fun chaos, Michigan loses next week to Iowa. Oklahoma wins this game and then loses next week in the rematch. Then who do you put in? Because you'll have Cincy, you'll have Georgia, and let's say Alabama does lose to Georgia. You have Georgia, you have Cincy, you'll have Notre Dame, and who? So think about that for a second. Yep, as I just talked about, Stetson Bennett is not worthy. Bama crushes Bennett. I don't know. Bennett's going to have to play well. He's going to have to play pretty well for if Georgia's going to crush Alabama, because Alabama's run D is really good. It's 5th in the country. So Mac Jones didn't have to battle away crowd. You are correct, sir. Let me pull down the Bill O'Brien thing. Miami fan. No one's hiring Bill O'Brien away after this. There were thoughts that some teams would want him as head coach. No. A lot of Bama got bailed out. Bailed out to me always seems like refs made a huge mark on it. I don't think the refs made a huge mark on today's game. They did get fortunate that Tank Bigsby, if some of the older crowd in here, Marion Barbered it. If anyone remembers that reference. And they made plays. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to harp on Tank Bigsby, especially Gary Danielson, who just wouldn't shut up about it. But I mean, Alabama had to go 98 yards in a minute 40 with no timeouts, and they did it. Especially and they looked really shaky for a couple plays. Where it's like, oh man, I don't know about that one. What the heck, ESPN, are you telling me right now? There it is. 12 plays, 97 yards in a minute. What they had done so well is not letting anything behind them. Just reading the comments, and you guys are going crazy, and I love it. Love it. Love it. Keep bringing it for a little while. For a while tonight. We'll talk all about this game and about the implications, the playoff, as we're going to go, probably 45 more minutes? Oh, my throat's sore after watching that game. Touchdown, Oklahoma. And Notre Dame Stanford is going to have big implications. And if you're Auburn, that drive's going to kill you. Because you have incomplete pass. You have 3rd and 10, 22-yard completion. 21-yard completion on 2nd and 1. And then you have nothing. 3rd and 7. You have a 4th and 7 You have to make one play, and you'll have knocked off Alabama for the third straight time on the Plains, for the fourth time in 5 tries on 5 plays, and Billingsley for 14 yards. First time I'd seen an Alabama tight end in like 2.5 quarters. And then on a 3rd and 10 gets a touchdown. When I saw that ball get lofted, it felt like time froze because the ball was hung up in the air for so long. And, you know, credit Brooks, man. That was a heck of a catch. So then we get to overtime. Touchdown, Alabama. They had no issues getting that touchdown. None whatsoever. And then Landon King with what Nestler was talking about it. 4th string tight end. It's like that kid from Kansas making the fullback making that play. And for some reason, and I'm going to harp on this, like, why are you kicking the field goal? Why? Go for 2. What do you have to lose? If you're Brian Harsin, what do you have to lose? If the game keeps going, you're probably going to lose because you're less talented and you're playing on a quarterback. You're playing a quarterback with one leg. One leg. And you can't run the ball. So you're at the 3-yard line. You're not even running it for 2 yards a carry. 2 yards a carry is falling forward. And you haven't been able to do that all game. What are you doing? And you just kick a field. Like, trying to improve your bull slot. There's no real difference in 7 and 5 and 6 and 6. Just can't. I don't understand that decision from Auburn. I don't get it. You saw Elijah Drinkwitz last week at Missouri, less talented team, got some momentum, went for 2. You just see it, and I don't understand it. No, I don't think. We talked about it against LSU. We've talked about it against some other teams that their offensive line is it's not very good, and it's getting to be too late. And now you have 1 week to prep for those monsters, those freaks, Jordan Davis and the like. Man, Finley was, man, what was crazy too was he was obviously hurt. His ankle was shot. I don't know if his ankle or what, but he was barely putting any weight on the one leg. And then in the 2-point tries, they kept rolling him out. What are you doing? I know Brian Harsin was the offensive coordinator at Boise when they did all the crazy plays against OU back in 2006, 2007. It was 2006 season. It might have been New Year's Day. I don't remember. I was 10. I'm only 25 now. But you had to have something. You couldn't run that little rollout throwback on after the extra point. I'm going to keep harping on that. Like, that's a bad decision. That's a bad decision by Brian Harsin. And it would probably cost them. It might have cost them the game because they ended up losing anyway because their quarterback can't throw and they couldn't run the ball. And it was obvious their quarterback. Look at the time of possession stats. If you just want to roll through the team stats, on 3rd down, Auburn was 5 for 18. Alabama, 8 for 22. 159 total yards for Alabama, or for Auburn. 159. And you had a chance to win the game. Obviously, you're getting outplayed. You really are. Like, you're getting some stops, and your defense is playing really hard, and they're making key plays. But I don't understand. And even as someone with a rooting interest, I don't understand what even I was getting frustrated. Let's see. Someone mentioned, wish you could have seen the game with Bo Nix was in there. I don't know, because Bo Nix is more likely to make some really, really stupid plays. Some like really stupid plays, but maybe he could. I don't know. Yeah, I agree. It would have been interesting to see what Nix could have done. But I don't know about Bo Nix. But Alabama won't be number 3. I don't. Sorry, sound like Kermit the Frog. I think Michigan will jump them. Michigan does what it did today against Ohio State, which again, congrats if there's any Michigan fans in the chat, congrats to you guys. That was so fun to watch your guys' reaction, running out on the field. That was so much fun. But yeah, I can't see Alabama being 3. I think they're dropping down to 4. And the entire game, I'm going to be. I'll tell a fun little honesty truth here. The whole time, even though when Auburn was going up like 7-0 and 10-0, it's great. I was like, okay, at any point, touchdown Okie State, they're up now 14-7. At some point, I was like, okay, Alabama's going to break through and they're going to win this game 24-10. And I'm going to come on here and I'm gonna come on here and we're gonna complain about Bill O'Brien's plan, but we're gonna give props to the defense, although Auburn's severely hampered. We're gonna talk about Georgia, and it's gonna be like, okay, another ugly win, but can they put it all together against Georgia? The moment I knew this game was gonna be weird, and I talked about it earlier, was when Williams got kicked out for targeting on a punt. And I know, oh, he's fast. That's why he's on punt. That's great. Once he's a Biletnikoff finalist, get him off the punt team. I'm sure somebody else can make a tackle. Someone's got to be able to make a tackle. And he gets kicked out. I know you're not ever thinking that's going to happen, but injuries, something crazy, stupid could have happened there. And yeah, I mean, he got kicked out. And now I think he's going to miss the first half against Georgia. FCS play. I went to an FCS school. The FCS playoffs are awesome. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. I think they can be. If I'm just being honest, I think they can be. I honestly think they're biased for Power 5 more than anything. Power 5, and that's just obvious. Power 5, and there might be a little SEC tilt, but what they want to do is create narratives. So that's why you saw like Mississippi State jump up in the rankings quite a bit, and to give Alabama some extra, or even at the time Texas A&M, not Texas A&M. Who am I thinking of? I don't know. And give them a little extra, more credit than they probably deserved, so they could justify keeping them higher in the rankings above Cincinnati, above Michigan State, whoever. And even if I don't think, sitting here today in front of all of you, I don't think Alabama is going to beat Georgia next week. In fact, I don't think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. I don't think it's going to be like a crazy 49-10 game, because I don't think Georgia can do that to this Alabama defense. But I wouldn't be shocked if it's 28-13, something, something low scoring.